All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Golf Unfiltered Podcast, but it's a special podcast. As you can see, my good buddy, Kris McEwen, is here. Cheers to you, Kris.
Yeah,
Way to get
finally.
through dry January. Yeah,
Yeah, we can talk about that too. I feel like I deserve some
we
sort
will.
of special award.
Yeah, we all do. We all do. But we will definitely talk about that. But longtime listeners of the show know that, Kris, you've been on a handful of times. You're a special contributor over at GU. And we started a little bit like of a mini series side project between our two brands. I should also mention that Kris is the co-host of That Range Life, along with our mutual friend, Bill Bush. Go check out everything that Kris and Bill go do over there.
Right.
And so we decided, why not do our own little thing? And we have this little side project called Have Clubs Will Travel.
Right.
And longtime listeners will remember that the first episode that we did of this, we went out to Elgin Country Club and we were pampered, I would think is the fair thing to say.
It's true.
Over
yeah.
there.
Very well taken care of.
Very well taken care of. There's a video up on my YouTube channel as well as a podcast episode where we detail everything that we did. We typically, the name of the game here, folks, is that we go, we play the golf, we drink the drink, we eat the food, we experience everything we can.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we do it individually, which is what we are talking about today. Because Kris, you went on a little golf mecca trip to Palm Springs / Las Vegas.
Right.
And you have lived to tell the tale. So we will get into that first. But let's get this dry January thing out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, just for the record, I went to Palm Springs and to Las Vegas to visit my in-laws, nonetheless, and stayed dry.
Wow.
So staying in a casino, hotel, the whole thing, got to walk through the thing and everything else. Yeah. So I meant to, we should put this caveat right at the top. So some people might see like a Las Vegas golf trip and think like, oh, we're going to get shenanigan stories. My Las Vegas trips aren't shenanigan trips. My father-in-law lives there. My wife, bring that to the show, go and visit him a couple times a year. And so, yeah. And the other thing too, we'll get this may surprise you've done Vegas, I assume.
I have once.
Yeah. Okay. I've been there. I mean, we go there every year almost. I've never placed a chip on a table ever.
Really?
In Vegas. I've never done it.
Wow.
I've never pulled a slot handle.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a sports book guy through and through. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like I'm somewhat like I can do math. I'm relatively good at Texas Hold'em. But for whatever reason, I don't know. I've never sat at a table and placed a bet. So
wow. Yeah. Just in Vegas, like you've done it.
Never done it ever in my life.
Ever?
Never. I've never gambled. Okay, I've never placed a chip on a table.
I've known you for a long time now.
And I love gambling. That's the other thing too. Like I really enjoy it. Like I would go back in the day, like, while I was a single man, we would have like a big Texas Hold'em tournament. Like I'm sure so many do. And like, just 7-8 tables in one of our buddies' living rooms or the basement or whatever. And I made my way, to a last table here and there, like I knew what I was doing, but yeah, I don't know, like Vegas. I don't know, man. I've never, or any casino for that matter. I've never done it. I know I went to French Lick too, where they have a casino. I didn't go into that one either.
Gosh, you're blowing my mind right now. Good for you. I'll tell you what. I mean, if you can get through Vegas that's more impressive than not having to drop alcohol. I mean, let's call it what it is. My goodness. It's funny though, because I've never enjoyed, so I've done it, but I've never enjoyed playing at a table in a casino because I always feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Well, that's why I would never go to a blackjack table.
Right.
Because I know there's like stealing cards. Right. Like I don't need that. I don't need to deal with that. So yeah, I've never done that either. Although I've heard stories. I had a buddy who sat like in a Keno. Is it Keno? I think that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Like he played Keno for like 14 hours or something one night and just like kept playing. And it's like, oh dude, God bless you.
Yeah.
But I do love sitting. God, thank God I don't. Maybe if I still smoked, I would definitely go down and sit at a table and burn one and lose some money. But I do enjoy sitting in the sports book. I will say that
is
I do
fun.
love sitting in the sports book.
That is a good time. I mean, it's funny because, well, with dry January, I did it as well. I did a lot. I call it damp January because my wedding anniversary is right in the middle.
Right.
And so
yeah. That's
I
like
allowed,
Bill's birthday is the last day of January. So
right.
it's like he has a 30-day month. He's got a 30-day month.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. And so I allowed myself one glass of wine at dinner for our anniversary. But aside from that, I was totally dry. And we were talking about this too, about how good we feel. I don't know. I always feel really good at the end of the month.
It's my most productive month of the year.
Yeah.
And it's not even close. Like I wake up refreshed. I ran, I don't know, 40 miles or something this month.
Okay.
Like I've been, because I don't go. So at night, we've talked about this. At night, I would, pour a glass of bourbon or something, and I would sit and maybe I would read or I would do some video editing or whatever, play piano.
Right.
But now I can't drink. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll go. And we have a gym downstairs. I'm like, well, I'll just go downstairs and run for 40 minutes or something. So yeah, this is as healthy as I'm going to get for the rest of the year. Yeah, but you do feel so much better. Hopefully I can maintain it to a certain extent.
I'm hoping to. Our mutual friend, Will Bardwell, was saying something earlier in our group chat about, like, you know what, maybe we just rely heavily on some edibles or something, some gummies, and then just, for those listening, it's legal where we live, but it's, I'm kind of over it. I mean, we're both in our 40s. He is too. And we're like, now don't get me wrong, listeners. Okay. I'm not some prude here. I enjoy a good bourbon every so often. I will splurge on a bourbon.
Absolutely.
I had a beer for dinner earlier today, but I was telling you before we got going here, I'm like, now I kind of feel like my body is like a shock to the system. It's like, wait, no, this is not good. I need to get back to
I don't know what's worse. Like, it's probably good that you have a shock to the system. When I had my first sip of my nice dark, Imperial Stout, I felt like my body was going, I remember this. This is nice.
There you are, Peter.
I've missed you so much. I don't know if that's much better.
Well, we'll find out. I mean, so February, it's nice. Fine. It's nice that it's the shortest month, and so we could see if we need to change anything abruptly in terms of our health status. But you're a pretty healthy fellow, so I have no doubt that you'll be okay.
I like to think so.
Yeah. Well, you run 40 miles in a month. I don't think I've walked 40 miles this month, at least. There's no way I've walked 40 miles.
It's 31 days. So it's not it's not too crazy.
Matter. No. Any rate, let's talk about the golf. So you went to Palm Springs. Tell us your trip. Tell us everything. Where'd you go?
All right. So we have friends who live in Palm Springs. They moved there right before the pandemic, bought a new place, gorgeous house. It's in a little neighborhood called Escena, which is also, and that's ESCENA, and it is on a golf course. It's on, coincidentally enough, Escena golf course. So I could walk over there. It was fantastic. Me and my golf bag, and I'd walk, and there's a little fence, and you just open the gate, and boom, you're at the golf course. It's a Nicholas design. For those that care about those things, I kind of chuckled when I saw it was a Nicholas design after, I think last year, Jack Nicklaus sued Nicholas Design or something for naming rights or whatever. But nevertheless, and you're going to show one of the pictures, which you're going to think when you see it that it doesn't look real, but I can tell you it's real. And by that, I mean the San, I think it's Jancito or Jancito. Wow. I don't know. There's mountains.
A man of culture here.
There's mountains. You're in a valley.
Our YouTube fam.
That's
fans.
Right there. That is insane. So if for those listening, I mean, the mountains are on top of you. And I've played in valley. I've gone to Phoenix. You're in a valley in Phoenix, and but this valley was like, you could 360. Anywhere you looked, the mountains right there all around you. And it was super dope. Yeah. So like when you're going up, I can't remember. I think that might have been, is it? No, 9 goes back to the club. Maybe that's 8.
This says hole
4.
4.
Yeah, 4. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I knew it was on the front because that was when I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that hole. Yeah. I was like,
Okay.
there's a little ravine there that cuts off. It's a kind of a forced layup. But that kind of leads me into some of the fun that was with this course. It's primarily a second shot course, I would say.
Mm,
So which is fun because it's a resort course, so the fairways are nice and wide and they're nice and real green, and it's desert course, it's desert golf, but it wasn't really in play a lot for me. Thankfully, I think I hit one ball out of the desert all day. But the way that it's set up, the downside of that is that there's not a lot of decision making off the tee.
mm,
Like it's
right.
driver, driver, driver. Then you get to a
Just
par 3 and you're like, whatever. But yeah,
yeah.
but you just hit it as far as you can and as straight as you can, and then you have to decide, okay, because the greens are really kind of what is going to defend itself from you. So,
Sure.
but it's a really, really fun course. The thing I like too, and I appreciate this about golf courses when they do this, is 6 sets of tees,
Oh, wow.
including 2 combo sets, which I
Oh,
really like.
nice.
I don't know
Yeah.
why all golf courses don't do combo sets. Um, so me and my guys that I got paired up with, we played middle championship, which was like 6,400 yards, which is
Perfect.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else was there? They just renovated the clubhouse and the restaurant. It was beautiful. So I left when it was negative 30 degrees. Right. That
Oh,
was the
here.
week I
Yeah.
left. Yeah. We experienced a 100-degree difference in one day when we flew out of Chicago into Palm Springs. It was so funny. But
Oh,
the real
God.
funny part is, so we were in Palm Springs for three days, I think, 3 or 4 days. When we got there, we're like, oh yeah, let's get into shorts and t-shirts, whatever. And we went down into the
Mhm.
little downtown area and got some food. And by the time we left, we were in sweatshirts and pants because we had adjusted to the heat, or to the
Okay.
cold, right? Like now it was cold to
Right.
us, even though it was like 50 degrees. But even the outdoor seating of the restaurant, we went there for breakfast. The outdoor seating had heaters over us. All the tables
Oh,
had
really?
heaters, and they had them on. It was like 55 degrees, but they had them on going. So
Wow.
I was like, yeah. The one restaurant we went to, this taco place, they actually had it. They had blankets on the tables, like on the chairs. So if people got cold, they could wrap themselves in blankets. It was 60
Oh, that's
degrees
nice.
it was 60 degrees when we had dinner. But yeah, by the time we left, we were locals. We were like, it's cold. I don't want to
Okay.
deal with the cold. Yeah,
So you
played
did
with
adapt
3.
eventually
Oh yeah,
to the
for sure.
temperature really quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Played with 3 guys. So when I was in town, about a half hour south in La Quinta, was the American Express tournament.
Yep. Mhm.
And the 3 guys I played with were actually volunteering for the day, holding up this "Be Quiet" signs. I think on the 9th hole, they were good dudes. I felt really bad because they were guys, like we got along. You would have gotten along with them.
Mhm.
They were offering me beers by the 3rd hole, and
Oh,
I think
nice.
I birdied one of the holes on the front 9, and they're like, "We're drinking now, Kris!" Like, and they brought out like their birdie juice. It's like a whole thing, right? I'm like, guys, I can't do
Yeah.
any of this. I'm
I
sorry.
can't do it.
Yeah.
Uh,
But they were great dudes. And then the only thing about the golf course itself was the back 9. I thought really stood out.
okay.
3 par 5s on the back 9. The closing hole, I want to say, is a par 5, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. You've got the par 5 hole on its own. That's beautiful. A little bit of an elevated green going into it. You have the clubhouse
Right.
behind it, and then you've got, of course, mountains behind the
Right.
clubhouse, and it just looked fantastic. We were playing later in the day, so you got a little dusk, going. So,
Oh, that's my
um,
favorite time to play.
yeah, it was really fun. Really, really fun golf course. Um, opened the year with an 86, with a gentleman's 86.
Oh, good for you.
So I don't hate that. Yeah. Short game. Short game. I asked Bill about this. I'll ask you since it's a golf show.
Yeah.
Early in the season, you get out, you start playing, the game starts to come together a little bit. What's the last thing within your game that like forms, like that you figure out?
Oh boy. I would say so. Oddly enough, my short game is the first thing that comes back to me.
Really? Okay.
It is like so. You've played with me many times. I'm a
Sure.
decent putter. My chipping and all that could probably be better, but for some reason, that's the first thing that comes back for me. Just the
I can
feel of
see
the
that.
short swing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say the last thing, honestly, is probably my long irons.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no like take anything above a 6-iron out of my bag until like April. I don't like.
Right.
I have no business swinging this thing. I went to the
Okay.
range today, and I am sore already, and I don't know.
Are you?
Like I was gonna try to like tempt fate and go and try to hit a 5-iron today. And what the hell was I thinking? I have no idea. It's just I left angry. Now I hate golf again, you know.
Of course. Right.
Anyway, real quick for our viewers on YouTube, here's the 18th
There you go.
from the clubhouse, I assume, and I see that there's a
Yes.
nice little creek, right?
Yeah.
That's a par 5 you mentioned.
It is. Yeah. So it's just a really, you can kind of, take off as much as you can. I think our pin placement was a little different, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's just a fun way
It
to
looks
close out.
gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. Super impressed with it. You know, it was just a really fun, beautiful, well manicured golf course. And to me, it's open to the public. And I know like I mentioned, just south and all those courses, you got the Pete Dye Stadium course down there and La Quinta and those courses that get a lot of attention. But if you can sneak up and throw around, if you're on some golf trip or something, or maybe you're just, cruising through Southern California, I would
Yeah.
recommend it. I think it's really fun. If nothing else, it's kind of, and we'll talk about the course in Vegas too, which really,
Sure.
there's a lot of value there, and it really felt like a hidden gem almost. But I think this one would probably qualify for sure.
So Ascena Golf in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you have
it right by the airport? Right by the airport.
Okay. So right
Yeah.
there, very easy to get to. Anything noteworthy the clubhouse itself, I'm just kind of looking at the website, which is acenagolf.com for those interested.
Yeah.
It looks like a very postmodern design.
Very
typical. Yeah. It looks awesome. The clubhouse.
Yeah. It's they did a good job because the architecture in Palm Springs, if anybody knows about Palm Springs architecture, it's kind of like, what is that? It's like I can't remember the name of the architecture, like postmodern sort of architecture. So when you see a Palm Springs house, you're like, that's a Palm Springs house. It's with the offset roof. There are carports instead of
Was it like
garages,
mid-century modern or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mid-century is probably the better way to put it. Fun fact about Palm Springs, it was originally sort of settled, I would say, because Bob Hope had a place up there. Who else? I think Bing Crosby probably did, like those old school dudes, right? That lived in Palm Springs. Contractually, they had to be within 2 hours of Los Angeles, and Palm Springs fit that bill. So they all found places and built places in Palm Springs. My wife actually went, when I was on the golf course, she actually went on an architecture tour with our buddy or a friend who we were staying with, like an unofficial architecture tour. It's not like guided or anything, but you have a little sort of just map that you can get online and go and see different houses and stuff and the significance of all of them. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. The other thing we did real quick before we move on to the drive, at least to Las Vegas, which I didn't know this existed. The Palm Springs tram.
Oh yeah, we're talking
tram?
about that. I've never heard of this.
So so here's I did a little bit of research on this, and they also talk to you on your way up. So it's a 10 to 12 minute ride on a tram up roughly, I don't know, 7,000 feet or something. You drive up and you park your car and you're at like 2,000 feet. And and then you get in this tram, and it takes you to the top of the mountain, basically.
Okay.
And yeah, it's the floor in the tram rotates the whole way up. So you just stand in your spot, because it's all windows. The whole thing around you is windows. You stand in your spot, and you get like a 360-degree vista of both the mountain and the valley. You see the whole valley. I mean, you're
That's
up
wild.
there. You're at 8,000 to 9,000 feet. It was so cool. So the idea. Here's the history of the tram. It's the largest in the world.
Okay.
They use helicopters, so only 5 towers that go past the tram up the mountain. There's 5 towers there. 2 of them are accessible by road. The other 3, they flew helicopters, and men build those things, which is wild. And this is like it was completed in 1963. The first ride was in 1963. But yeah, it's a 10-minute, 2.5 mile ride up a mountain. You go through 5. I didn't know this was a thing, but you go through 5 what they call life zones.
Life zones
or biomes.
Biomes. Okay.
Do you know the 5? Yeah, there's like 7 total or something. Yeah, biomes.
You're blowing my mind right now. No, I don't.
Biomes.
No.
This is the best thing. So you start in the Sonoran Desert, okay, and you end in an alpine forest. That's how high you go on this mountain. And then you could camp up there. You can hike. Of course, we had lunch. We were up there. We had lunch. But yeah, and it's just like and it's just there. I don't know. It's not like I didn't know that it existed until I still may not know if we didn't stay with a local, quite honestly.
Right.
Like
so that's crazy.
It's not on my list of things to do ever in my life, but it was so fun. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
The other thing too, which it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And just gorgeous, and it was just so cool. But the other thing that we thankfully had a local with us, because when we were leaving the house, he was like, you need to dress like it's 30 degrees colder.
I saw that in the notes that you shared, and I was like, what is this all about?
So like, instead of shorts, we put pants on, got jackets, and you get up there, and it's a 30-degree change. You get on the ground up there. You went from the desert to like, now you're wearing gloves and like a winter jacket. It's wild. It's just nuts. I mean, maybe some people are used to that stuff. We are in very flat, boring Illinois. That's not normal. That's not what we do here.
No, we don't go through biomes in Illinois.
Quite the experience. So I would recommend. Right. We have, maybe in like one day we go through all the seasons. We know that experience.
Right. That's true. Right.
But yeah, we don't do biomes. That's not a thing. But I would recommend that. I would definitely recommend the tram too, while anyone's there.
Awesome.
Really fun.
Good recommendations. A nice little diamond in the rough there. And listeners, if there's a delay, there's a little bit of a delay between Kris and I right now. I think it's our biome internet here on our flat state that we're dealing with. But it sounds like it's little things like that we always want to keep an eye out for. Little things like that we want to keep an eye out for when we go to these courses, because these are things that, like you said, Kris, the locals know about. We wouldn't know about. You said it yourself. You wouldn't have known about these, like the tram and all this other stuff, had someone not told you before, going in there. But, as we go now to your Las Vegas experience, Boulder City, is this the course that you played?
Yeah. I played in, let's talk about first, just real quick, the drive. So we drove from Palm Springs to Vegas, right?
Okay.
And I feel like this is a legitimate, if people wanted to, have like a golf trip where they went You could fly into Palm Springs, right? You could drive to Vegas. And then you could drive to Mesquite or St. George or something like that. And then back to flat, I guess we want to. But we got some more local knowledge by someone who said, avoid taking the I-15, because the 15, once you get on it, it's just like a straight shot to Vegas. It's a shorter drive. It's probably 3.5 hours or something. They said, avoid the 15 and take the more sort of back road type of stuff. So we actually took, I think it was like Route 62, and we took Route 95, which is also part of like Route 66, right? At certain points we were on Route 66. But you drive through like Yucca Valley, you drive through Joshua Tree, and then you get to like the main event, which is the Mojave National Preserve. So you're in for like 2.5 hours. You're in the desert with nothing. There's nothing. It's just desert. You've got some rock formations. You've got some like you've got some different mountains. Oh, like you need a full tank of gas, 100% before you leave Palm Springs, because there's not, you don't see anything until you get to Las Vegas. Quite honestly, if you take this route,
oh my God,
there was nothing. It was crazy. There are dead mobsters where we were. I'm certain of it. We drove through where people were buried in the ground, along with probably thousands, if not millions of dollars hidden somewhere in the desert. Like it's full blown, like, that's what it was.
Nuts.
It was super cool. And we went through at one point, I don't know if you read about the lake in the desert it's a dry lake.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden one day it had water.
Yeah, I did read about this.
So we drove past that. Like we drove past one of those where it's just like all dry lake bed. And then, there's like salt. There was salt hills, and like you could see the salt in the ground. It was nuts, man. It was like,
you're like Hunter S. Thompson going to,
right. I'm like nuts. A very sober Hunter S. Thompson. Yeah. But it was like, the good news was, for the most part, we kept our phone signal. We were out, like we had Waze going and that never dropped, but like our music stopped at one point because we were streaming, but it jumped right back in.
Right. Because you're on Mars.
I wouldn't take that drive at night because there wasn't a street light to be found, for sure. It was just like, it was one of those things where it's like, we had no idea what to expect. And we still, the whole drive, we're like, this is nuts. Like, this is wild. And it's one of the coolest things that we've ever done. Yeah. It was just Zelmy. Yeah. Just driving in our little Kia Soul that we rented.
That's amazing.
It was so cool. Yeah. It was just one of those things where we would have never have done it had someone local not said, don't I-15. And now I cannot recommend it enough. It's one of those, like you said, it's like golf trips are, yes, the golf is why you go, but then like all the sort of local things or just all the extracurriculars around the golf, it may be restaurants or bars or casinos or whatever, trams and these random drives. I mean, they're just like, that's what I enjoy about, as much as I enjoy the golf part, I enjoy like just the unexpected sort of things, and that was certainly one of them.
Exactly the same way. Yeah. Yeah. That stuff like that, hearing you describe that makes me want to go do that. It's so cool. And we haven't even talked about the golf course yet. I mean, because God, I'm gonna get raked over the coals for this, but like there are some golf courses that certainly stand out in my mind from others that I've played. Like there are some that I remember forever. But for the most part, at least in my opinion, it's all pretty much the same stuff.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like everything else, like you're saying, that just makes the entire experience.
Yeah. And I feel like too, we're both, we'll call it budget conscious about things. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go and spend $300 a round for a 5-round golf. I'm just not going to do that. And so to me, maybe I'll splurge on one golf course. And that's like you're talking like this bucket list. The guys are at the
Mhm.
pros are at Pebble Beach today or so, this weekend.
Right.
Like, okay, I'll splurge for that. Or last year I played the Lido in Sand Valley, and that was a pretty big ticket round of golf. But for the most part, I get real itchy if it's over $100.
Yeah,
I
me too.
don't like it. Now, to be fair, I was at both of the courses were just over $100. So in Asina was 100, just over 100, 110 or something.
Sure.
Boulder Creek was around 120, I think. But
Okay.
I'm an out of towner. So if you're in town, it's cheaper. And
Mhm.
this is golf season here. This is like
Yeah,
peak
it's peak
season.
season.
Right.
Yeah,
So you're
right.
going to pay a little bit. There's a little bit of a tax to that. But
Sure.
that being said, I was not angry after I got off of those golf courses with the price I paid. But the
Good.
overall point is, yes, you go to me, golf is a reason to travel. It's an excuse to go somewhere. And that's what I
Agreed.
use golf for. Right. And to be my friends, right. To be with you and to be with Bill and Mitch and Darren and
Mhm.
those kind of guys. Right. So to me, it's yes, let's go play golf. Let's go have a really good time, but then let's go experience what this local area has to offer because we may never be back. And so that's
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
that's how I feel about traveling. Yeah. So anyways, so we drive through the desert. We drive through the Mojave.
Mhm.
Adam, we drove through the freaking Mojave Desert, man. I never thought I'd say that in my life. We go through the Mojave.
We saw a magical lake.
Right.
You
Yeah.
saw no street lights.
Right. We get to Vegas and, we're there. It was the divisional playoffs.
Mhm.
So, and in Vegas, the game started at 1 and 5 or something like that, which is perfect because I can get
Mhm.
out 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, get my round in, go home, go back to the hotel, shower up. And then we would meet at my father-in-law's house to watch TV or watch the football game. So looking at just if you do a search in Las Vegas, I assume this is at any point on a Saturday. I was searching on maybe Thursday or Friday for golf courses, and they're all $1 billion, and they're all the times are weird because everyone's going to play golf before the football games start.
Right.
And I'm like, all right. So I hit up my pal, Brian Orr. You should follow him.
Mhm.
He's an incredible golf course photographer. We call him golf course photographer extraordinaire.
Okay.
He's been doing it for years, and he does a lot of work for Las Vegas, a lot of golf courses in Las Vegas.
Mm.
So I hit up Brian Orr. He does a lot of work for everybody, but like he knows the Las Vegas golf courses, right? That scene. So I hit him up and I say, Brian, where should I play Saturday morning? That's not going to cost me $1 billion. And he said, you're going to play here. I'll book it. Pay me
Mhm.
back. You're going to play here. And that was Boulder Creek Golf Club
Boulder Creek.
in
Okay.
Boulder City. Yeah.
Got it.
So
Got
it's probably a half hour. I want to say south. Oh God, someone's gonna yell at me for that. I think it's a half hour south of Las Vegas. North or south, I don't know. But not that far from Vegas.
Mhm.
It felt hyper local. Like it felt like a like it would be a Muni for us, right? Except we're in
right.
Boulder City and it's way cooler. Like the golf course is way better than our munis. If that was a muni. It's got
Mhm.
3 nines, which is also cool to me. So
Yeah.
it's got Coyote Run, which I played. That was one of the nines I played. El Dorado or Eldo, as they like to call it.
Nice. Okay.
The locals called Eldo. And then the third one, I didn't play the third one, Desert something.
Okay.
Desert Hawk.
All right.
Desert Hawk.
Desert Hawk. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so here's the thing. I've never done this before. Maybe you have. Have you ever played golf on a golf course that has dormant grass?
I don't think I have.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Where it's like, so
Yeah.
okay, so the fairway is grass, green, it's
Right.
green, it's grass, right? Everything
Mhm.
else is like yellow. It's like, hey,
Oh, I've not. We went out to Arizona one trip a couple years ago, 2, 3 years ago. and they may have had some dormant grass. It was Rancho Manana in Arizona, and I'm thinking it was almost like a hay. It felt like,
Yeah. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
But it's like, it's just so aesthetically pleasing to me. It just looks
I
nice.
love.
It just
You know
looks
what it
nice.
reminds me of? When we were growing up playing like PlayStation, like Tiger Woods on PlayStation, and there was
Yeah,
always
yeah.
the desert course, and
Yeah.
they that is what I pictured, and I've always wanted to play a course like that where it was just like exaggerated, where
Right.
everything was so green, but everything else
Right.
other than the fairway or green. Yeah, yeah. I would
Yeah.
love to do that.
It was really fun. I really liked it. And I played really well. Second round of the year, Adam. Shot myself a little 83. Thank you very
Oh
much.
no. I hope you
Yeah.
posted this.
I didn't post it. I don't think you can't
Okay,
post it
okay.
yet, right?
No, I don't think you can. No.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah. Well, good for
to
you.
answer to
It's
your own
always good to
question,
play well.
right? It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's good when you travel. It's good to play well when you travel.
Oh, yeah, and I was playing with some local. I think they were locals. They were they're like everyone in Vegas is from somewhere else. It's like going to Phoenix. They're like, I'm
Mhm,
from,
mhm.
wherever. But they were originally from Pittsburgh. But I feel like they knew the course pretty well. So that it must be in some kind of rotation for them. I don't know. But that's the other thing too. Like if you're playing with, like I was playing with other tourists in
Mhm.
Palm Springs, and it's like whatever. Nobody cares. It's fine. Although we all did play pretty well, but then yeah, I felt like I had to really hold my own against the locals at Boulder Creek.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was so yeah. So I shot an 83. My short game is the last thing to come back after an off season, and my short game is still not back after those two
Mm.
rounds. Like that really kind of cost me. But and the greens at Boulder Creek they're slippery. They had
Mm.
me beat. The first, I think 2 out of 3 first holes, I 3-putted. Like
Oh
just
god.
just yeah. Yeah, it was rough. Um, yeah, they had all 3 of us beat, and they told us that
Yeah.
my guys were like, "Be gentle with these greens. They're gonna get you." Then, a golf course's greens are in your head, you're like, "Oh god, this is gonna be
Right.
rough."
The
But,
rest of the round is just kinda gone. Yeah.
right, right, just
Yeah.
terrified at anything longer than like 5 feet. You're like, "This is gonna be a disaster." Um, but I will say this about again, I talked about, let's say you're gonna go down to Vegas and you're gonna play, I don't know, you're gonna play the Win, right? You're gonna go and splurge
Mhm.
and spend $600 playing the Win. You're gonna spend another, I don't know, you're gonna go play, what's the other real big one there that costs $1 billion? Um,
Oh, gosh.
it's
I've
not
never
sure.
played golf in Vegas.
Yeah,
Um,
so there's another one that's out there, but whatever. You're going to go play these really expensive golf courses. Then one day you're like, let's just go and be chill and play like a local sort of golf course, and be with the people, or just take a break from spending all your money, or maybe you lost a bunch the night before. Um, go play Boulder Creek. Book yourself a
okay.
tweener round in between your big rounds at Boulder Creek. And I think you'll really enjoy it. I found it to be exactly what I love about golf courses, which is it is a perfect combination of tee it up and swing as hard as you can, cut some
Good.
corners, take some chances, and make some smart decisions off the tee as well. You can club down here and there and still not sort of, you have to decide like maybe the
Mhm.
way that you're playing that day, you're like, you know what, I can cut that corner. Or you can also lay up with as little as a 6-iron and still have a chance to get into the green, in 2, and you're not going to be 200 yards back or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I found that to be that's my favorite type of golf, like that sort of mental decision making process when you're standing at the tee and you're
Mhm.
like, I could hit any club I wanted from 6-iron to driver, basically, right? So it's
Perfect.
how
Yeah.
much do you want to chew off? How much risk do you want to take? And then you live with that decision, right? And if that's fun. That is really fun
That
for
is
me.
fun.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and playing on dormant grass gives you a little bit of I'd love to go and play it sort of in season to see the difference, but there's a lot of forgiveness in dormant grass.
Mhm.
It's
There really
flatter.
is.
Yeah, it's easier to hit out of. It's faster golf because you can see your ball immediately in it if you
Right.
don't hit the fairway. But yeah, I really, really, really loved playing those 2 9s. I wish I could have circled back and played Desert. What did I say it was? Desert, whatever.
Desert Hawk.
Desert
Yeah.
Hawk again. But the thing I really liked about it too is that you're outside of Vegas and you're sort of in a
Mhm.
community. Now that being said, there wasn't a house to be found uh, on the golf course.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's out.
Okay.
They put it outside of like you can when you drive into Boulder City, you can also go and after your round of golf or maybe before, you could probably go check out the Hoover Dam too, because that's right near
Oh,
there.
all right.
So you can make that
Nice.
a stop too. Um, but the way that it's set up, those 3 9s, is that it's like going out into the desert a little bit more. So it's like away from all the housing. Um, yeah, so you're just out there in the middle of
Nice.
nothing, playing golf, and yeah, it was fun, super fun.
It sounds like it. I could tell that you really enjoyed yourself. It sounds like these 2 courses were very gettable, yet like you
Mhm.
described, I mean, you don't wanna just go to a course and play or pay, maybe a little bit more than what we normally would pay for golf, and then not have to think, not be
Right,
treated to a,
right.
something of a strategy session as opposed to, "Okay, I'm just gonna bomb it." I don't want straight golf holes, give me
No,
something for my
yeah, I
yeah.
feel like it's totally true. Like we do that, we can do that. We can
Right.
go to our
Yeah.
golf courses and because we play them so often and whatever. Um, yeah, like scenery will go a long way for me, right? Like the big mountains around the golf courses or whatever. Um,
Right.
but yeah, at a certain point, like I want to be, I don't know, I want to have fun, and that's my version of fun is like trying to think about what the architect was thinking when they laid out this whole, you know.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. It sounds like it was a great time. Hopefully we can get out there one time next time you go out. I don't know if I'll be stranded in the desert with you. I mean, that's terrifying.
Oh God,
But
I would really. I thought about. I thought no, I'm not getting stranded in the desert with you, but I thought about just doing that same kind of trip, but with like a small group of us,
yeah,
and seeing what we could make out of it. Because I think that's the other thing too is like we're both. Let's be honest, we're kind of hipster golfers, and we like to
we
do the
kind of are.
off.
Yeah.
We like to do the. We like to find the indie band golf courses, the
Yeah.
equivalent of an indie band, and I feel like
Before
that's
they're
what
cool. Yeah.
Right, that's what I feel like Boulder Creek is. It's like, well, I
Yeah.
know about Boulder Creek, but nobody else knows about Boulder Creek, right?
That's awesome.
Like, yeah, go waste your time at Wynn Golf Club, unless I want to
There's like
accomplish
there's
this,
yeah, right. There's a TV show idea there somewhere where it's just you just blindfold us, drop us into a community with golf clubs, and then we have to find a golf course based on what locals say.
Right,
That would be
right.
something. That
I'm
would
in
be
for that.
something.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a trip. I guess I'll end the last little bit of Vegas. I mean, people go to Vegas for like a billion different reasons, right? Um, but I will say this: it's hard to miss. But if you go, you gotta go see, at least on the outside, you have to go see the Sphere up close.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I
nuts,
is
man. It
it
is
is it
wild.
is it like distractingly large if you're driving? Is
It's
it
huge. Yes. We
yeah.
could so
Okay.
we stay we it it's massive. It's like 6 stories, but I mean, it's huge. The
Oh
thing is
god.
huge. I don't know, like, of course it's that big. I don't know why I
Mhm.
didn't think it would be that big. It's not like a house. It's a
Right.
building, but like, yeah, so where we stay at the far end of the strip, like way, way down at the end of the strip, looking back at the sort of skyline of the strip of Vegas, right?
Mhm.
And you can
Mhm.
see the Ferris wheel and things like that. I mean, we're miles away and we can see that sphere as clear as can be. We know exactly what it's doing. Like, it's huge. It's just crazy. And then there's a certain point where you're on the strip and you pull around, and then it's there. It's
Yeah.
like the Coliseum. It's like all of a sudden it's in front of you. And it's just like, this is not, it's just the most bizarre, cool thing that we've ever done as humans. It's the weirdest thing. Like somebody thought of
It's
this and did it, and it's crazy. It's
it's
huge
like
and it's a whole
the epitome of just excessive
Mhm.
architectural, like, debauchery in the
It's totally true.
city of sin. And
It's so
there it is.
perfect. There's never a better home than Las Vegas for that sort of thing. I
Yeah.
can't even begin to. You can go into it. You can like do tours. They have different like experiences or whatever. We didn't do any of that. We just had like an hour of free
Mhm.
time on a Sunday morning, and so we're like, let's go drive over there and check this out. And God, it's wild. It's just nuts, man. It's like
Wow.
just crazy. It's just the I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but
That
I
sounds
would just
amazing.
say go and look at it, if nothing else.
I'm definitely gonna have to put that on my Kristen and I'll have to go out there and check it out at some point. Yeah, and even the 2 courses that you mentioned, I mean, they sound awesome. Those are the types of courses you want to hit up when you're going out to that part of the country,
Yeah,
and you don't want to be
yeah,
swept up in like the Wynn or a $400 course. Those sound like
right.
some good alternative options.
Yeah, and it plays like a local course. Boulder Creek for sure plays like a local course where you're through in 4 hours, right? I
Nice.
think a lot of those other
Nice.
courses you're not getting through in 4 hours. People are going to be taking pictures and they're going to be
Yeah.
crab ass, and you get a lot of people with a lot of money who don't know how to play golf but want to do that and check it on their bucket list, whatever. This much more felt like just a normal round of golf. You just happen to be in a different biodome. What is it called? What did I call it?
I don't know. Biome.
Biome. That's what it is. Biome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these biomes. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we covered a lot of ground. We covered a lot of ground in this episode.
Rumor has it we're going back Masters weekend.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Good
If you
for
guys
you.
want to join us, you
Nice.
could meet the judge.
We will see. Yeah. I've heard stories of the judge. We'll have to see. Unfortunately, we didn't get our credentials for Augusta, but
Yeah,
we'll
right.
have to see. Yeah. Oh well. Well, that's Kris McEwen. You can follow him at Kris McEwen on Threads. I know he's very active there. It's kind of like our new hangout. I like Threads a lot more than I like X or Twitter, but this is Have Clubs Will Travel. We'll do this again. We're just getting into the golf season again, Kris. I know we've got some things on the docket that we want to do for the golf season. We've had a lot of ideas.
For sure.
We're good at ideas. Hopefully we're good at executing them.
I like the idea too.
year.
Like if you go somewhere and play golf, we get
Yes.
together. If I go somewhere and play golf, we get together. And then whenever we can go, obviously together, we go
We do
together.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And
on
Joe from Elgin has already invited us back this season. So we got to line that
Perfect.
up just to hang out.
We'd love to go there
because he's our dude. Yeah.
He is our dude. Heck of a player too. He's a good player. All right, my friend. Well, this was good. We will reconnect soon. You are a traveling man. You are leaving tomorrow to go to Groundhog's Day in Woodstock, Illinois.
Going to Woodstock, Illinois.
There you go. That's a little.
That's that polka playing the whole time.
And that's going to serve. That's going to serve as our outro music for Have Clubs Will Travel. This special episode of the Golf Unfiltered Podcast. All right, buddy. We'll talk again soon.